Coming up in this Fincast, how to set up a basic aquarium so your fish won't die. Yeah, this was something that I just could not get through my head for the longest time. I thought that the filter on the back was doing all the work.
Oh, I see better color, I see more activity, my fish breed. I have a full-line pet store. I have fish tanks where I have apistogrammas breeding. I have fry. I have lots of fun stuff going on.
Okay, so you bought a new aquarium like this one that I bought at Walmart, or maybe you're just thinking about a new fish tank. Well, how do you set it up? More importantly, how do you have long-term success? Hi everybody, John here with another Fincast, and today we're going to be looking at how to set up a basic aquarium, maybe a box set that you buy from one of the big pet stores, or in the case of the one we'll look at today, I bought it at Walmart. I've done a lot of aquarium videos here on the Fincasters channel, and it occurs to me that a lot of the videos that I'm doing are on topics that are sort of beyond the basic beginner level, but when I talk to my friends and family to a certain extent, people always say something like, yeah, I had a fish tank, but my fish died. Or, we had a fish tank when I was a kid, my parents set one up for me, and my fish died. And honestly, I had that experience as well. Now, at this point in my life, I've been keeping fish for 4.5 decades, and so I've figured out some things, but there is a relatively new addition to the hobby, and when I say new, maybe less than 10 years old in terms of basic consumer goods, that you can add to your water, and it's going to make all the difference in the world, and your fish are not going to die. So let's go through some basic setup, and then I will show you this new additive, and I'll explain to you the difference between this additive and what you think it might be, and how it will make your fish survive over the long term, and you can have a nice, happy, healthy aquarium. First, let's take a look at our stuff. I bought everything here that you see at Walmart. It's all perfectly fine. In fact, some of it is pretty impressive. It's a nice filter. The new LED lighting is a huge upgrade over what we used to get in the past. I spent just under $200. This is a 29-gallon tank. I also bought a pirate ship, a crocodile skull, some gravel, sorted plastic plants, and a background to put behind the glass. Everything else came in the box. Once you have the tank unboxed, you need to place it on a stand, make sure it's level. I left room between the aquarium and the wall for the hang-on back filter. Don't box yourself into a corner here, and then give yourself some room to remove that filter occasionally for cleaning. Don't jam it right up against the wall. Now, I do like to have a background on my tanks. It makes them pretty, or more importantly, it hides the equipment and all the power cords. I attached this one with simple Scotch tape. You'll have the option of a single color, such as blue or black, on one side of the background, or a photo like the one I'm using here today. And I'll be honest, usually I go for the single color, but today I was feeling adventurous. Wipe the glass to make sure that there's nothing toxic from shipping or manufacturing, and of course, just to get it clean as well. Then add the gravel. You'll want to do 1 to 1.5 inches, and you want to slope it, so make it deeper in the back and shallower in the front. That'll make it easier when you're doing your aquascape a little bit later on, and it will actually look better once the tank is finished. It's good to rinse the gravel to remove the dust. You'll have cleaner water sooner, although I think companies are getting better about this. I honestly did not rinse this gravel, and it came out just fine. If you want to rinse it, put it in a colander or something from your kitchen and just run it under the tap water, and that'll be good. Then place your hard decorations next. By that I mean the crocodile skull in this case, the pirate ship. If you're going to use rocks or driftwood or something maybe more natural looking, you know, whatever you dream up, put your hardscape in first. Here's a decorator pro tip. It's not a huge problem, but a lot of people are tempted to take their pirate ship or their rock or their driftwood or whatever and put it right in the middle of the aquarium. And I want to encourage you maybe not to do that. And here's why I say that. It's better to divide your tank into thirds, and an aquarium is not unlike your cell phone. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but there's lines here, and those lines are there because they're trying to encourage you to put the subject of your picture not in the middle, but over there. And your fish tank is shaped kind of like your cell phone is, or any type of camera. And so the idea then is to take the focal points and put them here and here as opposed to right in the middle, if that makes any sense. Now, by the way, if you want to add a bubbler or anything else to the fish tank, this is a good time to do it. It's nice and dry. You can move the gravel around, so that's not a problem. I did not put a bubbler in this aquarium, but I love them, and I probably will at some point. Also, this is the time that you add your heater and you add your filter, but please don't plug anything in yet, not till later. The next step is to add some water, make the tank about 3/4 full. It's easier to put the plastic plants in now around your other hardscape because they'll stand up and you can see what they'll look like. And they won't do that until you put the water in. Typically what you want to do is you want to put the taller ones in back, the medium ones in the middle, and the shorter plants in front. And then try to position your decorations, if you can, to hide the filter and heater. Because what you really want to see at the end of the day is the fish and the decorations and not all the plumbing and the electronics. And if you have enough plants, fill in the back corners so you can sort of force the fish activity toward the middle of the tank. Once you have everything in place, then you can fill the tank to the top with your warm tap water. What I'm using here is something called a Python, and I will put a link to this in the description with this video, but because it is a game changer for aquariums. But if you're using a bucket, it's a good idea at this point to get a dish out of the cupboard and pour the water onto a plate so you don't stir up all the gravel or make a big hole in the middle of all your hard work. Once the water's in the tank, plug in the heater and the filter. Most filters nowadays will auto start, but you may have to take a cup and add some water into the back of the filter if it doesn't automatically start pulling water out of the tank and flowing for you. Now we're at the part where you will have to add some things to the water that will make the difference between your fish living and dying, and there's a lot of confusion on this, all right? So here are the 2 additives that you want to add. Seems like everybody knows that there's chlorine in your tap water and you need to get the chlorine out because it's toxic to your fish. So you're used to the additive that people have used for years and years and years that you drip into your tank and it removes the chlorine. But there's another additive that makes a huge difference, and this will make the difference in your fish living or dying. In terms of removing the chlorine, if you're using the product that they sell at Walmart and the other big box stores, it comes in a yellow bottle. It's called Tetra Safe, and you just dose that following the directions. But here is the key step, and as I said, it'll make all the difference in the world. There is a second product called Safe Start, and I wish that the names on the bottles weren't so similar, but they have completely different tasks in terms of your long-term aquarium success. So what you're looking for again is called Safe Start. This one comes with a green cap, whereas Tetra Safe comes with a yellow cap. Unfortunately, they're both in a yellow bottle. But the Safe Start bottle is full of beneficial bacteria. And those bacteria are the difference between life and death for your fish tank. This is actually a good bacteria. It's something that you want in your aquarium. What it does is it cycles your aquarium. I don't want to get into the whole cycling thing right here, but I'll put a link to it. It's all over the internet. You can look it up, but I'll make it easy in the description with this video. But basically, here's what happens. You put your fish in the tank and the fish poop, or you feed them and maybe they don't eat all the food and it decays. But all of that is basically polluting your water. And if you don't have the beneficial bacteria to break down the poop and the decayed food, then what happens is you get ammonia in your aquarium, and that's what kills your fish. And it takes sometimes a couple of weeks for this phenomenon to happen. And if you don't add if you don't add the safe start, over 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, the poop starts to outpace the bacteria that's naturally growing in the tank, and you get that toxic water, and that's when your fish die. And it didn't used to be you could buy this bacteria in a bottle, but aquarium keepers have figured it out, and there's other brands out there besides the Tetra, but this is what they sell along with the aquarium kit that I bought at Walmart. There are some other ones out there from some of the brands that might be known to longtime fish keepers, but if you Google around you can find it, and I'm not endorsing any one brand over another. Yet this was something that I just could not get through my head for the longest time. I thought that the filter on the back was doing all the work, and as long as that filter was running, I thought, well, wow, this tank must be perfect. That filter plays a role, circulating the water, the activated carbon, taking out chunks of stuff that might be floating in your water to make the water less than clear. But I couldn't get it through my head. I thought, well, the filter is doing all the work. Well, the filter is doing a part of the work, but that bacteria is probably doing an equal part. So now it's time to add your fish, and this is what everybody wants to do. You've got the water running, you've got your bacteria in the tank, you've taken the chlorine out of the water using the 2 products that I just talked about. Make sure that your water temperature is between 74 and 82 for tropical fish, and you are ready to go. But you don't want to rush out and buy all the fish that are going to be in this aquarium, because you will overwhelm the tank. You'll probably outpace even the growth of that bacteria, which will literally grow on the rocks, the decorations, and everything. But you want to give that a chance to grow. So don't buy all your fish. Go to the store and buy, say, 3 to 4, maybe 5, depending upon the size of your tank, inexpensive fish. So here we're talking about platies, we're talking about zebra danios, maybe a neon tetra, maybe a black tetra, beginner fish that are inexpensive, just in case you do lose one. You just want to get them in there, you want to get them acclimated, and you want them to start pooping and doing the other things that fish do other than swimming, and begin the life cycle in your aquarium. So now you brought your fish home from the store and you want to put them in your fish tank. So you have to do acclimation. You have to acclimate your fish, because the bag water is different than the aquarium water at this point, and you want those fish not to be shocked when they go from one to the other. Make sense? You'll float the bag first, because the first thing that could be different is the temperature. So you want the temperature the same in the bag and in the fish tank, and that'll happen if you float the bag for just a little bit. The other things that might be different, the pH, other trace elements, maybe the water hardness, the water softness. The water in the bag might be foul because you've been carrying fish home from the store, depending upon how far away you bought them. So you want to get this water acclimated, and you want your fish to have a nice, easy transition from the bag into the fish tank. So float the bag for 15 minutes, let the temperature equalize, then remove some of the bag water and replace it with a small amount of tank water, and then let the bag sit for about another 15 minutes. At this point, look at the fish. If they're swimming happily in the bag, you're on your way. If they're gulping for air, if they're darting around, if they're hiding in the corners, probably you need longer acclimation. You've got some sort of an issue there. Now, the other thing I want to point out is water from the fish store, even though it may look great in their tanks, who knows what it's been exposed to, because they're bringing in thousands of fish from wholesalers, and nobody can guarantee that all those fish are perfectly healthy, that there aren't hidden parasites, that who knows what might be in the water that comes from the store. Bottom line is, you don't want any store water in your tank. So here's what you do. Place a net over a bucket or the sink or whatever's handy for you, and then pour the fish out of the bag and into the net. Then place the net into the tank and let the fish swim out happily. Now, hopefully they're happy and they begin exploring their new aquarium and not darting for the corners or hiding or gulping for air. Okay? They should just swim out and look happy. At this point, it's kind of hard to be patient, because you want your aquarium to look full and you want all the fish, and I've got to admit that I'm probably the worst at this. I know some shortcuts to overcome some of the problems, but what you want to do is you want to run out and you want to get more fish. And you can see that if you look at the fish in the bags that I placed in this new aquarium, I overdid it. I bought too many fish. Of course, I was making a video and I kind of needed the tank to look full. You're better off if you just put in a small number of fish and then go back to the fish store at the end of every week, maybe on a Saturday, whatever works for you, and get a couple of more fish until you get to the point where there are enough fish in the tank. But don't do as you see here. The bags that I have in that beginner aquarium have too many fish in it. I'll just tell you that outright. And for the record, I did a lot of water changes to try and stay ahead of the situation there, but I did lose a few fish. So do as I say, not as I do. Now here's a couple of other notes. Only leave the light on when you're looking at the fish tank. If you leave it on all the time, what you're going to wind up with is algae growing on your glass and growing on your plants and your pirate ship, and you don't want that algae in the tank. And you can buy an algae eater and whatever kind of fish you want, they will not be able to stay ahead of it. So just turn the light on when you're looking at the fish tank. Don't have it on all day, or you're going to have issues. By the way, this aquarium has been set up for months now, and I have not seen the first speck of algae, and I haven't had to wipe the glass off a single time. By the way, I also have a video on how to set up a much larger aquarium, a 55-gallon tank, so just click on the card above if you want to see how we did that one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Fincast.